Have you ever thought about how to remain in the sanctuary of the Lord's rest while stepping boldly into the plans He invites you to put into motion? Well, said in a different way, have you ever thought about how resting and doing are connected? Well, it's been on my mind since God gave me the word movement for 2022. I write about rest. So when God gave me that word, I was like, did I hear you right, Lord? Rest is a gift that God created for us because He knew we would need it. And we clearly do. 76% of us are currently experiencing burnout. And hey, if you're a woman, I got some bad news. Those numbers are higher. For us, it's closer to 80%. Through this word movement, God pointed me to a biblical solution to combat burnout. It's intentional, directed movement that is part of resting in the Lord. When we rest in Him and trust the steps He directs us to take, we experience peace, not burnout. Proverbs 16:9 says, "We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps." This intentional, directed movement is part of resting in the Lord. It's trusting that He will provide for us and give us rest when we need it most. Let's take a look at the Old Testament prophet Elijah. In the Bible, no one, in my opinion, does burnout better than him. In 1 Kings, Elijah was at the top of his game. He was doing all the things. God was working through him in some extraordinarily big ways. But right at the peak of his career, Elijah, he wanted to quit. He was done. He was exhausted. He was emotionally defeated, lonely, and completely discouraged in his work. Elijah was burned out, and it was starting to distort his thinking. And he ran to God to resign. But instead of giving Elijah an out, God gave Elijah rest. This is what 1 Kings 19 says. It says, "I've had enough, Lord," he said. That's Elijah speaking. "Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors." Then he lay down under the bush and fell asleep. All at once, an angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." He looked around, and there by his head was some bread baked over hot coals and a jar of water. He ate and drank and then lay down again. Elijah experienced burnout. He ran to God, and God offered Elijah rest. Elijah slept, he ate and drank what the Lord gave him, and this rest strengthened him. But God didn't leave him there in this place of rest. Instead, God listened to Elijah's reasoning for feeling burned out, and then God moved him. The Lord responded by saying, "Go back the way you came and go to the desert of Damascus." God sent Elijah back with a plan, with specific steps to take with him. This included anointing kings and a helper in his work. Elijah could have quit and turned from the life God wanted him to live. Instead, Elijah turned to God and received his rest. Then, when well rested, he shared his struggles with God, and in a whisper, God responded and gave Elijah intentional, directed movement. He will do the same for you. If you're feeling burned out, turn to God. Put your burdens down. Stop striving. Accept His gift of rest. Talk to Him. Listen for His gentle whispers that will direct your steps. The Lord's rest and being obedient to the steps He asks you to take will fight against burnout.